Are we live now? I think so. We are live. Welcome everyone to February's Get Seated final pitch event. We've got a great event tonight. We've got some amazing business ideas and some incredible pitches. My name's Cole Dieterle. I'm part of the Get Seated team. I'm one of the many associates, and I'll be the host for tonight. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our generous donors, first Chad and Kristen Anselmo, as well as Doxy.me. Without them, we wouldn't really be able to run this program. We wouldn't be able to help, mentor, and support the college students who are looking to get their businesses off the ground. So we really appreciate their generosity and couldn't do it without them. Thank you again, Chad and Kristen, as well as Doxy.me. Tonight's event is focused around our larger of two milestone grants. This is our seed grant, where teams will be pitching for funding ranging from $501 to $1,500. These milestone grants are really focused at helping businesses test and grow their businesses to the next step. And really, there are two things we want you, the audience, and other presenters to think about when you're listening to these pitches. The first is customer validation. Have these businesses done the research and understand their customers? Who wants it? How do you know? Have they done this research? The second and other important key to these presentations is the business milestone. So what is a milestone? Milestones an action or event marking a significant change or stage in development. Here we want to think about, is this the right next step, or is this the next milestone for their company? And does the funding they're asking for or requesting, is that going to match their milestone request? Overall, here are the event rules. We're going to go through the pitches, and we're going to have a Q&A at the end of all the pitches. I'm going to go over how the audience can ask questions on the next slide, but you're going to be able to text in the questions you have once you see a pitch and a crazy question pops into your head regarding it. Each presenter is going to have about 3 minutes to give their pitch. Once those 3 minutes are over, we are going to cut them off, and it's going to be on to the next presentation, except for returning winners who get 4 minutes to pitch. The important thing is teams must be able to present in order to win, and we all need to have fun, which is my favorite part. Looking at the schedule and lineup, we first have Curl Up, and then we have 6 other additional teams. Like I mentioned in the Q&A part, you're going to be able to text the number 812-542-5299. It's right at the bottom of the screen. You get to text that with your question, and the important thing is to put the team number at the beginning of your question. So for when you're listening to Curl Up's pitch and a question comes into mind regarding customer validation, business idea, or anything else that's just tugging at you, it's important to text 812-542-5299 and put that team number in front of them, which is 1 for Curl Up. All right, I'm going to give it over to Curl Up. You should be getting unmuted shortly. And
Okay, I'm unmuted. Do we just start? Okay.
Start as soon as you're ready.
Right. We're Curl Up. I'm Christina.
I'm Haley.
It looks like we're having technical difficulty. So.
Hi, I was muted. Thank you. I'm Victoria.
We want to make hair products for people with curly hair. Curly consumers have seriously lacked substantial hair care in the past. People with straight hair use 2 products, shampoo and conditioner, spend 5 to 10 minutes on hair maintenance, and the whole routine costs between $11 and $20. People with curly hair use about 5 products, including shampoo and conditioner. People spend 45 to 60 minutes in the shower, and the cost for the whole routine can easily go over $100. Furthermore, hair care has advanced a lot, but tends to leave curly hair out of the conversation, even though curly consumers are willing to spend twice as much as their straight hair counterparts. While Pantene and Tresemme are partnering with Go Green projects, adding cruelty-free labels, and cutting costs while doing it, curly hair care has remained mostly the same since it hit mainstream shelves in the early 2000s. Curly hair is very delicate, so our products have no harsh chemicals. We're giving curly consumers more ethical options with fair trade ingredients, vegan and cruelty-free formulations, and we strive to drive costs down to be more affordable than other products that make the same claims. Curly hair is also very diverse. To make a statement, we've added ingredients from each of our cultures to represent diverse curls within the team and the broader curly hair market. Our target market is people with curly hair. CurlUp is trying to provide an ethical and affordable product because hair products for curly hair people are extremely limited. We have interviewed and surveyed a range of people with curly hair, and most of the time they come back saying that there is not a product out there that they can truly trust since they aren't transparent about their production methods, and the ones that are extremely expensive. The validation from people have helped our company solidify that there is a need for this because ethical beauty does not have to be a luxury.
Some similar products and companies already in the hair care market are DevaCurl and Shea Moisture. DevaCurl offers specific hair products for curly hair people, but they are incredibly expensive. Shea Moisture is relatively affordable, but is marketed towards only limited types of curls and doesn't meet the needs of every consumer. To compete with these companies, we plan on using a market skimming pricing strategy in the introduction stage of the product lifecycle. And then we plan to shift to a penetration pricing strategy through sales events in the growth stage. This funding will help us go to manufacturing. We will be launching with 2 products, a styling cream for type 3 curls, which is hair that is very curly, and a hair oil for all types of curls. Our manufacturer has a team that conducts safety and stability tests for 90 to 120 days to determine the shelf life of our products. If our product is approved by summer, we go into manufacturing, package our products, work on outreach, do some final touches to the website, and start selling by the end of 2021. In the future, we will be adding more products to that to cater to more specific curl types to expand our company and outreach.
CurlUp was founded in October 2019. In November 2019, we entered Get Seated and won $2,000. After receiving our funding in January, we began product research in our new office space through the company launch program at Lassonde. In March, we had to move out of our office due to coronavirus and resumed working online in April. We built our website on Wix over the summer and added 2 new members to the team in August. We finished our formulas that October. From there, we did our first photo shoot in Brooklyn, New York, which completed our web design. As of now, we are working to get our products tested, and we are continuing to build our online presence. We are requesting $1,500 for manufacturing, where they will take our pre-made formulas and put them through safety trials to test shelf life and efficiency. The funding will make our product market ready and will greatly speed up our manufacturing process. While the product is being tested, we will build our presence virtually. We will work on different social media platforms, and we will open our website for pre-orders in the fall. Our social media presence will help increase visibility and foster brand loyalty amongst our target demographic. We plan to start selling our styling cream on 3 platforms.
Great job, CurlUp. That was an awesome presentation. Just as a reminder, we will actually do the muting, so you don't need to time yourselves, but great job. I appreciate you helping us out there. Next slide. Remember, if you have any questions for CurlUp, please text the number at the bottom of the screen and put number 1 right in front of your question. The next team up is Alloy Education. Jake, when you get unmuted and get control of the screen, feel free to start whenever you're ready. Thank you.
There we go. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Jake Mabey. I'm the founder at Alloy Education, and we are using video game technology to create 3D interactive textbooks for the sciences. The problem that we're trying to address revolves entirely around the textbook industry. And the textbook industry is big. They do $2.8 billion a year in higher education textbooks alone. And the reason why is because professors love textbooks. 95% of professors view the textbook as critical to student success. And it's for this reason that they've built their entire courses with textbooks at the foundation. Students, however, have a very different view of the value of textbooks. A recent study in 2009 showed that 69% of textbooks, or students view textbooks as useless or mostly useless, useless or mostly useless, and that 20% of them use the textbook as the professor recommends as a result. And the real reason that we want to explore here, the thing that we want to get to is, why is a $2.8 billion industry have consumers where 69% of them hate their product? And a study in 2011 got a little bit at the root of this and showed that students don't use textbooks because they view them as unengaging, abstract, and inefficient. And that's the problem that we'd like to solve. By building our textbook in an interactive environment based on video game technology, we can make textbooks engaging, concrete, and efficient. So some images we have of our prototype, where students can explore in a 3D environment. They can view the written content right next to animations, and they can interact and have learning exercises that help challenge their recall, and that studies have shown lead to greater learning. Our customer validation, our target market is 5,300 US colleges and universities, and we've shown our prototype to a handful of professors and students across multiple universities. One professor in particular said that this was easily 5 times better than what they were using. And with students, we surveyed 150 of them. They said it was 6 times better than what they're using outside of class to be able to learn the content better, and would add 67% to the value of the current textbook that they're using. As far as current competitors go, there's the traditional textbook publishers, VR anatomy apps that we found. We even found an animated textbook for biology, but all of these fall short in very specific ways. The traditional textbook market is what led us to the current problem that we're in right now, where users hate their product. It's passive, it's 17th century technology. VR anatomy apps, while interesting, are not comprehensive. They can't replace a textbook. And then animated textbooks are not interactive. They can't challenge students. So our advantage is making something where students can observe, explore, recreate, and experiment. Our milestone, we have the world built out, but we need to build more interactive challenges to it so that they can explore and be challenged with these exercises. We've got 2 to 3 that we're building out that will give us one complete chapter for an apples to apples comparison. And we've calculated out how much we need by taking a look at what it costs to do our first interactive challenge and extrapolating that across the 3 challenges that we would like to create, which lead us to our asking amount.
That's time.
Great job, education. Sorry about that. Next slide. Remember, if you have any questions for Alloy Education, please text the number at the bottom of the screen with number 2 in front of your question. Next up, we have Foam. Foam, when you have control of the screen and you're unmuted, start when you're ready.
Awesome. To start us off, we just wanted to say thank you for allowing us the opportunity to present today. I can speak for Carson and really everyone on the Foam team when I say that we're beyond excited, and we hope that we can spread some of this enthusiasm to all those watching. My name is Ethan Black, and I currently serve as the COO of Foam.
Hi, so I'm Carson Young, and I'm the founder and CEO, and this is Foam. So the idea is simple. We're essentially the DoorDash for your laundry. Foam is an innovative direct-to-consumer laundry service for students living on campus. Our mission is to make laundry as straightforward and stress-free as possible, all while disrupting the traditional communal laundry facilities found in high-density living areas, especially within universities, as in essence, they're some of the largest landlords on earth.
Our anticipated process is as follows. So students will sign up with Foam and they're provided their own Foam bag. Each Foam bag, where students put their laundry, will contain a unique identifier that assists us to sort and organize an efficient drop-off and pickup, while also linking the bag to the consumer's account. Once a week, students drop off their Foam bag at a designated spot. We take the student's Foam bag to a partner company. The partner company then washes and folds the laundry, we pick up the laundry and return it back to that designated spot. Students then pick up their foam bag and enjoy laundry done and folded. With the stated process, we believe foam solves three main issues: time, convenience, and money.
So this idea sounds great in practice, but is it really something that our customer, Lassonde students, care about? Well, we set out to answer this question by surveying nearly 75 current and former Lassonde residents, and we found that just about 75% of them would be willing to pay for a laundry delivery service, and they'd most likely to be willing to pay in the $10 to $20 per week price range. Based upon these results, we believe that there is a willingness to pay there.
When evaluating our competition, we found three main competitors: Red Hanger, which some of you may have heard of, Push Laundry, and the default communal washing machines. We believe that we beat these competitors in these areas: cost, convenience, logistics, and safety. We can expand on that further in the question phase.
In terms of milestones, we have two key dates in mind. First, in April 2021, we plan to launch the pilot service at a small scale. And then in the summer, we plan to join the company launch summer cohort, where we'll build out our physical location and begin our delivery operations. In terms of funding, there's two key areas. First, our business is centered around convenience for our customers, and we need to further develop our app in order to accomplish this mission. The proprietary foam bag is a key component of the business, and we're dedicating heavy time and resources into the perfection of this bag.
Doing laundry is a hassle. The entire process is stressful, unstructured, and is an overall daunting task for students. No one enjoys the eerie side of a communal laundry room. It takes time, it's often full, and relying on a college student to promptly switch their clothes from the washer to the dryer is rather optimistic. No more waiting for machines, easy drop off, convenient pickup, laundry delivered. This is foam. Thank you, guys.
Excellent job, Foam. If you have any questions for Foam, please text the number at the bottom of the screen and put the number 3 in front of your question. The next team up to present is Sport Ready Oxygen Backpack. As you get control of the screen and are unmuted, feel free to start as soon as you're ready.
Hi, I'm Maya Ellis, and presenting with me is Sarah Davis, and we are the Sports Ready Oxygen Backpack. So we are seeing an increase in people using supplemental oxygen due to conditions such as COPD and now COVID-19. And it's very difficult to be active while on oxygen, but it's often vital for people with these types of conditions. So our idea is a lightweight, ergonomic backpack with an autonomous oxygen delivery system. So this is a large and growing market, and our target customer is someone on supplemental oxygen who wants to remain or become active in order to live a healthy lifestyle. Current users have difficulty remaining active because their equipment simply wasn't designed for sporting use. They're often too flimsy or too bulky. In our customer validation research, we found that everyone would like a more portable option and the ability to be hands-free. It doesn't make a lot of sense to be turning around and manipulating all of your equipment while you're trying to do an activity. But the biggest problem that we found was the cost of liquid oxygen, and it's due to its limited availability. So because of that, we've decided our bag must be compatible with liquid and compressed oxygen.
So as Maya stated before, some of the backpacks and bags that are on the market right now are pretty flimsy, they're not really ergonomic, and they're not comfortable. So this backpack and this shoulder sling are the most readily available and the most commonly bought that we were able to, do some research on. After doing weeks and weeks of research, we found that there are no active backpacks that are currently on the market that a user could buy that are similar to a Camelback and Sport Ready backpacks like that. So we currently already have a prototype in place that we have a mock-up liquid oxygen tank inside of. So our next milestone would to get a finalized proof of concept that would look nice for the user. This would allow us to start preliminary testing and get us closer to a finalized design. This will also allow us to start the FDA process to make sure this backpack is safe for the user. And this will give us a better idea of a finalized cost to produce and how much we could sell this to the user. So for this, we're requesting roughly $500. A big majority of this would go towards the manufacturing of a proof of concept backpack. Since we're trying to keep this backpack under roughly 7 to 8 pounds, we do have to have a custom circuit board to get rid of kind of all those wires and stuff that you see in that photo. We also need to get a hardware container to house all of this so that the user can go into different environments, such as rainy weather in the desert, and not have their control system get ruined by the environment. Thank you.
Great job, Sport Ready Oxygen Backpack. Again, if you have any questions for them, please text the number at the bottom of the screen with the number 4 in front of it. As a reminder, we're going to go through all these presentations. At the end of the presentations, we're going to ask each team 2 questions, ideally the questions that you're sending in. At the end of the questions, we'll open up a poll for voting where you, the audience, the teams, and the Get Seated team will all get to vote on who we think our top 3 teams were tonight. Next up, we have Two Fairy.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Tiff Palmatier, and I am the founder of a company called Two Fairy. So my problem is that sometimes you need your car somewhere, but you can't drive it. And normally it's because you're doing things like you drove yourself to a happy hour. Maybe you drove to dinner and had a bottle of wine. Perhaps you went golfing and hit the beverage cart a little bit too hard. Or maybe it's as benign as getting an outpatient procedure, something like a tooth pulled. And you really shouldn't be driving when you come out of anesthesia. And so my solution is pretty simple. We are an app-based rideshare platform where driver teams of 2 people ferry you in your own vehicle to your destination. My driver teams pair themselves so you and your friend can work. One of them follows behind while the pilot drives the client's vehicle. Rides are easily requested or scheduled through a mobile app, and the cost is comparable to an Uber or a Lyft 2 ways. So we're really just giving you guys another solution. If you happen to have your car with you and need to move it, we have you covered. So customer validation, target customer is a 45-year-old executive, enjoys going out, having wine with dinner. Since COVID, she's concerned about other rideshare services due to germs. She provides take her own car places, so she has her things with her and can come and go as she pleases. And she's busy with a lot of activities. Two Fairy allows Rhonda to get to her events on her own terms. And if she decides to have that extra drink, she's going to still be able to have herself and her car home and be ready for work the next day without having to figure out where the heck she left it and having to go fetch it before work. We validated this concept through user interviews, surveys, and there's been some really good growth in my competition that gives me a good idea of market fit. Speaking of those competitors, one of them is a company called Driver. They offer a very similar service, except they're really more focused on B2B and events, and their services are really expensive. They're in 72 major metros today. And then we've got Driver Seat, which is a company that's based out of Canada, actually, but they're all over Canada. They're in 400 cities, and they're just barely in a few cities in the US, but they're a franchise model, and their services are really costly. So where I differentiate is through my purpose-driven mission to reduce impaired driving. I'm also a marketplace business structure. So I think that, that's what people have come to expect. And I have branding that resonates with women while staying affordable for all. And that's really important to me. As far as my milestone, I have apps that have been in development for 18 months and they're really, really close. I just need a little bit more money to get over the finish line. Once I'm on the App Store, I'll gain that initial traction data and then get some first revenue. And then the real customer usage that I'll have from the apps being on the App Store will help me figure out, what cities I should go to next and what enhancements I need to make. So again, the funding request is $1,500, and all of that and then some will be used towards that final software development, namely my current bug fixes and then some QA and testing. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
Great job, Two Fairy. Again, if you have any questions for Two Fairy, please text them at 812-542-5299. Put the team number at the beginning of your questions. The team number for Two Fairy was 5. Next up, we have EndoGrip. EndoGrip, when you're unmuted and have control of the screen, feel free to start when you're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Farshad, and Sierra here with me is going to be presenting to you EndoGrip, the guidewire securement device. So in vascular surgery, guidewires play an important role, but at the same time, they have their own issues, and they could be hard to manage sometimes because of their length, and they could be a source of contamination. Therefore, if they touch a surface that they shouldn't be and is not sterile, then they need to be replaced. That adds up to the cost of surgery and increases the time of surgery, which can be lethal in cases. So our device EndoGrip manages and helps the surgeon to manage the guide wire during the surgery with the functionalities that it provides.
So our target customers for EndoGrip are hospital surgeons, in particular vascular surgeons. EndoGrip has been presented to vascular surgeons at the University of Utah, who tested our device on a dummy and confirmed its functionality and that it has a lot of beneficial potential in the field. EndoGrip also won Best in Engineering at the Utah Statewide Bench to Bedside competition, which is judged by surgeons and engineers and businessmen, giving our product further validation.
So to look into our competitors, we looked into the market, and really there is no competition for this device except for CathClip, which you can see it's a simple clip that holds the wires together, and it does not provide the same functionalities that our device provides, such as rotation and allowing for movement of the wire during the time that it's been held. And it also needs preparation of the device, which needs soaking of the inner lining foam. So we think our device is superior in that sense.
So we are currently awaiting a patent office action letter to move forward with patent approval, and we are also doing FDA documentation planning. But what we would really like to do with our funding is to do marketing. We would like to produce samples to send to vascular surgery departments across the United States. And we'd like to ask a surgical device marketing company exactly who we should be sending these sample products to.
So as marketing is our target, and it's a big part of selling this device, actually letting people know that we exist out there, we are asking for $1,500 for funding so that we can make the prototypes for $1,000 and package and ship them to our target, and also pay a company that tells us who our customer resides, basically the locations where we have the most vascular surgeries happening. So with that, we conclude our presentation about EndoGrip. Thank you.
Great job, EndoGrip. If you have any questions for EndoGrip, please text the number at the bottom of the screen, 812-542-5299. Put the team number at the beginning of your question, which was 6. Next up, we have Virtual Swim. Nick, when you get control and are unmuted, start when you're ready.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Crawford Taylor. I'm a mechatronics engineer, and I'm part of Virtual Swim. My partners are Steven Song, a software engineer, and Jake Durham, a software engineer. When you use any current VR system, you'll be able to jump into a virtual world, but you'll only be able to look around and observe. When you find a giant robot or a wizard tower, you can't walk around it, climb onto it, or interact with it in any other way besides simple buttons. It really isn't immersive. Our technology can fix this problem. You'll be strapped into a suspended exoskeleton suit that can become rigid or apply force to make it feel exactly like you're walking up the wizard tower or battling the giant robot you can already see. This is a huge change for VR. It enables precision sports training, so anyone can feel famous athletes' exact movements, enable architects to give realistic tours of designed houses, give militaries the ability to do cheaper and what would have been more dangerous training, provide fine-tuned physical therapy and precise post-surgery rehab, and give people the ability to experience any virtual world or game exactly as if it was real. We're a first of its kind suit, so we don't have any direct competitors. Some other companies that are developing something similar are Virtuix, Cybereth, and Catwalk, which are working on VR treadmills. However, they're struggling to get their products out the door because of the intensive development costs. We're going to be taking a different approach. Rather than focusing all of our areas into like pre-development, we'll be using an arcade model so we can develop as we go, allowing for rapid iteration and fast development. The virtual reality market is estimated to be the size of 10 billion and growing rapidly. We've developed a detailed CAD model of our prototype and wrote software that integrates our suit with an existing game engine. This is a screenshot from some of our testing. We can already feel it start to work. This funding will help us finish our leg prototype construction, which will in turn let us perfect our software systems and build a demo experience that'll let us start generating revenue fast and build a long-term sustainable business. We're asking for $1,500 to help supply parts for our control system, our power system, and the structure of the exoskeleton. With our initial test, we've proven that our project is feasible. And with this funding, we know we can make it happen. Get ready to dive into a virtual world.
Think I'm ready to dive. Great job, Virtual Swim. Again, text those questions. This now moves us into the Q&A session. We'll be asking each team 2 questions submitted by the audience. We'll go in order of the teams and how they presented. First team up will be Curl Up. Hopefully they are being unmuted at the moment. And their first question is going to be, where are you manufacturing and how will you ensure the high quality of your product?
We will be manufacturing with a company, and they allow us to make sure the quality is high because we get a pick. We are giving them a list of ingredients that we have come up for the formula, and we are giving them that, and they are basically just testing it. So we have found research and like trials that show that those ingredients are high quality and will work well. That manufacturer will just be able to show that that is actually true and bring that up more.
Nice. And your second question is, what data do you have that your product works? Do you use it?
So far we haven't received the first sample back from the manufacturer yet, but we have created some of our own. And for the most part, the data that we've received comes from a magnitude of the Google Forms that we send out, just asking people what scents they would prefer to know that works better for the experience, or other people asking what factors they take into consideration and what makes a product good, whether it's the curl definition or the hydration, whether it's the consistency, whether it's the scent, whether it's the size that it comes in, the packaging that it comes in. All of those factors come into play as to when you would see it on a shelf and how you would see it online, if that is better for you.
Exciting. Thank you so much, Curl Up. Next up, we have Alloy Education. As you're being unmuted, your first question is, and this is not from me, this would have been sweet when I was in school. What is taking school so long to get this kind of thing going?
It's a good question. I think it's a little less with schools and a little bit more to do with the manufacturers, but I think there's a technology gap. You have people who grew up using this type of technology, written paper, and doing tests on pencils and paper. Now you've got digital natives that have grown up using iPhones, iPads, and it's a different consumer market, I think. And those who are the current textbook publishers, they literally come as publishers. They have printing presses. They think about things and view things as publishers. So I think that you've got those two elements there, a changing dynamic of your demographics, and then you also have these archaic incumbents there that are coming from a world that is not technologically savvy.
And your second question, how do McGraw-Hill interactive textbooks compare? How do you view the shifting educational market to YouTube videos, etc.?
Yeah, so a lot of our students go to YouTube when they can't understand things a little bit better. And a lot of times that's because they're not using the textbook. Textbooks are very thorough. They have the space to really go in depth in complex topics, but students don't have the appetite for that. So they hope to get a good verbal explanation via YouTube. As far as the other competition out there from traditional textbook manufacturers, I'm taking a biology course right now. And have taken a couple biology courses over the last few years. And their interactive textbooks are more like they have some components where they may have like little PNGs, little images that you have to drag to different areas or connect lines. So while I think you could get over the bar and say they're interactive, I think it's far different from this like immersive experience that we're creating. And then that's usually in like the quizzes and the homework platform. It's not integral to the textbook where you would be able to read something, have an interaction right there in the content itself.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alloy. Next up, we have Foam. Foam is being unmuted. Your first question is, how do you plan to price your service?
I can answer that one. So pricing was based upon the customer validation where we did survey 75 current students living in Lassonde Studios. And with those 75, about 75% of them stated that they would pay between $10 to $20 plus. Our financial model right now is at $15 a week, which we deem very feasible and works within our model.
Excellent. And your second question, can you expand on your competitive analysis and what makes you different from your competition?
Yeah, I'll let Ethan take that one as well. He really likes that.
Awesome. So within the competitive analysis, we feel we have advantages in 4 key areas. So one being price, as mentioned previously, that kind of $10 to $20 range is our target point, and Push Laundry charges $35 a week and Red Hanger charges $25. We have a logistical advantage where having all of our consumers based in kind of one central location allows us to charge the $15 where we don't have a lot of the going around to different residential houses and whatnot. And then another small one would be safety. Push and Red Hanger have you just leave your laundry bag outside on your door. I don't know how comfortable a lot of people would be doing that. And then lastly, and most important to me, is the presence we have and how well we know our target market. Being students at the University of Utah, Carson lived at Lassonde. We have plenty of peers that live there. We know our market. We talk to them on a daily basis. We can get constant feedback on our operations, where we just feel like this kind of niche is just very important, separates us from other laundry services.
Yeah, just to reemphasize his point, we quite literally are our own customers. I genuinely hate doing laundry, and that's why I created this company. So just kind of trying to help solve my own problems, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Foam. Next up, we have Sport Ready Oxygen Backpack. Your first question is, what market research have you done to show that this product is needed over the other products available?
Yeah, so we've conducted several user interviews and just our basic market research. When we were going out, we were on websites, we were talking to different groups and seeing what options they have. And it's just little cheap backpacks that are readily available. There's not a lot of sporting equipment that accommodates the oxygen tanks.
Great. And your second question is, what makes this bag more ergonomic or better designed than your competitors?
Yeah, so we have a lot of backing that secures the tank so it's not swinging around and hitting you in the back. And we also have a chest and hip strap that secures the load more evenly across the shoulders.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Sport Ready Oxygen Backpack. Next up, we have Two Fairy. Two Fairy, your first question is, how would you address operations during COVID?
Operations during COVID, I actually think we're kind of built in to handle that just by how we're designed, meaning most people are more comfortable with someone who's coming into their vehicle masked for one quick trip and then getting out versus going into a ride share who God knows how many people have been in that. No one knows if it's been sanitized. Having the onus of it being your own car, you can just quickly sanitize if that makes you feel good and you're on your way. So hopefully that answers it.
Your second question is, what would an average drive cost?
Sure. So an average drive is actually about the same as taking a rideshare like Uber or Lyft, both directions, which a lot of people do anyway when they're going out for a night of drinking. But this way, if you happen to have your car with you, you don't have to like go all the way home to do it first and then take the ride, from home. So it just kind of cuts out, saves you some time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Two Fairy. Next up, we have EndoGrip. EndoGrip, your first question is, what is your projected timeline to have your product on the market for clinicians?
Usually the patent office letter takes about 18 months to 2 years to get to us, and we've waited for about 1.5 years. So we should be getting that letter soon enough. And after we're done with the patent, we'll be moving forward with the FDA, and that should not take a while because usually we can go under, we get the category that there is prior devices because we have CAC-LIP. So we'll move forward pretty quick, and within a year, we'll be able to get it to clinicians, we expect.
Exciting. And your second question is, how much would each EndoGrip device cost to make, and how much would you sell it for?
That's a good question. So since marketing is not like my field, and our marketing student has left the U recently, so I would have to give you an estimate that he gave me. For production, I know because I'm an engineer, it costs us about $5 to $6 to make a pack of 6, because usually they will need multiple to handle the wire. And they were expecting it to be easily sold for $20. But that's just the number that I've been, but that's not my calculation. So
perfect. Thank you so much, EndoGrip. Last but not least, Virtual Swim. Your first question is, why start with the feet? How does this best serve Virtual Swim, and why not a hand or another part?
Of course. If you've ever been in a VR system, one of the things you'll immediately notice is not being able to move around. When you're in like an action or adventure game and you see a giant robot walking towards you, it's instinctual to jump back. That happened to me just a couple of days ago when I was playing a game, and I ran into the wall. So one of the things that I think would help immerse people into games most is the feet. Not to mention, it has a reduced number of motors, so it enables faster development and cheaper development for the first section. We are going to continue on with development, building arms and an accelerational system that we have designed. But first things first.
Nice. First things first. And your second question, do you have working prototype parts right now?
Yeah, we actually do. We've got our motor system integrated with the VR system, so we can feel the objects in VR. What we're asking for funding for is to build the suit so it actually fits onto someone's legs. So we've really done the hard work already.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Virtual Swim. Now it's time for the exciting part. It's time to vote. Everyone in the audience, teams, get seated. Everyone, it's time to vote for your 3 favorite teams. This is now going to be open for about 10 minutes. Please go to the link at the bottom of the screen and vote for your top 3 teams.
And don't forget that we will have a question and answer with Tim Cooley in just a few minutes. We'll give everyone some time to vote, but anyone who has presented tonight. Remember, you can send questions in if you want to. But Tim is going to share a little bit of his story with us, and we're very excited and we're very thrilled that he is with us, but we want to give him time to vote as well. So in just a few minutes, Anne Bastian will be on and she will run our Q&A with Tim.
Okay, Kaylee and Abby, you can let me know when votes start rolling in. And Tim, let me know once you've had a chance to get your vote in, and then we can go ahead and get started. Awesome. I hear, Tim, that you're done. So I think we'll go ahead. Yay, Q&A with Tim Cooley. So, and let's see if I can get my screen bigger there so I can find you. There he is.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Get Seated, an environment that we never thought we would be in, huh? When this was dreamt up all those years ago. I thought it would be fun to start with you just sharing a little bit about your history with this program, your kind of brief background and experience, and then where you're at today.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Ann and I go way back, but I was one of the original people to start Get Seated. I think I was in the third iteration of this before it was even part of Lassonde. As I took over the president role, we actually transitioned it off to Lassonde, and it's been awesome to see it grow since then. We were way scrappy back in the day. And so it's cool to see you guys keep carrying on this tradition. It's honestly my favorite program that Lassonde does. They're all cool, but I think this one's definitely special. It's definitely something unique around the world. I don't think anybody else does what this program does, so it's pretty cool. So a little bit about my background. I went to the U to start a company. It was called Cooley Fitness. I pitched so many times for funding, and I never got it, even though I was the one making the rules. But it was awesome to see other people be successful in that. I took that company and grew it over about 8 years and ended up selling it off, which was awesome. But, as entrepreneurs go, life goes crazy in the middle of things. And so I got fortunate enough to work in an accelerator. So I worked with about 300 companies, helping them with fundraising, marketing, sales, product development, the whole works. I did that for about 3 years. Then recently I got involved with Park City Angels, which is a local angel group based in Park City. So I screen every single deal that comes through. So I'm very connected, been doing that for a while. I love it. And then my day job is actually helping people raise capital now. And so I coach them up on how to present their businesses. You guys are using really good formats, and that may or may not be because of something we created way back in the day. So you guys are doing great. But yeah, so it's been a really interesting ride to go from an entrepreneur, trying to do what you guys are doing, and then transition that into helping other people, do the things that I know that are successful in helping people raise capital. And so, through my little there we go. I recently launched a book on fundraising, on how to put together a pitch deck. And it's a lot harder than people think. And so I put a book out there that shows everything I learned from Get Seated. Get Seated is actually mentioned in the book. And so I'm super excited to be here for you guys' questions.
Okay, well, with that, we all want the book, so we'll buy the book. Where do we buy the book?
So just go to Amazon, and then if you look up the pitch deck book, it should come up, or look up my name. I think it'll come up both ways. Okay,
perfect. And so give us some of the things you saw tonight. What was great? What could be improved? What's the Tim Cooley Pro feedback?
Yeah, totally. So the big one I would say is a lot of you guys use multiple presenters. I highly discourage that. When people are funding companies, they're really looking for that leadership, that one person to go to. And even though it's fun to let the team in on that, I really recommend just doing one person. You don't have to, but it is a better way of presenting. You guys did a really good job of communicating the problems. I think you can spend a little bit more time. I know it's only 3 minutes and you don't have enough true time to actually present, but you guys did a really good job with that. So highly commend you guys all. I think that's the hardest thing to do, is to convey the problem in a meaningful way in such a short period of time. And I'll also say that your guys' milestones were pretty awesome. Having did this for, almost 2.5 years, not everybody knows what they're trying to do next. And so I think you guys did a really great job.
So this is great. If you have questions, specific or general questions, you can throw them in the chat. You all should have access to that. And then I will give them to Tim. So another question, Tim, just on pitching, what can you tell us something that you have seen in this kind of virtual environment? Where do you think we're heading? Did I lose Did I lose Tim? No, there you are.
Nope,
Okay.
I'm here.
What do you think the future of pitching is, right? Can you imagine? We were reading like 20-page business plans some time ago, but if we're trying to prepare students to pitch for the future, what do you think that looks like? What does it look like coming across your desk now?
Yeah, so everything Park City Angels right now is virtual, and I don't think that's going to go away in the near future. So I'm also part of a group called Band of Angels, and we're looking at companies all over the country, and everything's virtual now. There is an element to be said that as soon as we can get back in person, there's still a very social environment around presenting and the investors themselves. So we all can't wait to get back in person. But I do think that learning how to present virtually is going to be key, which means, being not distracted. So for example, that's in the book, but presenting so that your camera is right at your eye level. A big one that I see people do, especially when presenting on a computer, is we look at the person. So like, Anne, you're on like my right-hand side, but if I look at you, it actually makes me look weird in your camera, right? So it makes me look like I'm looking off to the side for the answer when I'm actually just talking to you. So it's practicing talking to the little circle. Same thing with interviewing. And then, really, I'm on my phone right now, but if you can, and if you have the money for it, presenting with a good microphone is actually can add another element of confidence to presenting virtually.
Okay, well, thanks for calling me out, because I'm looking down here at your face down here, but my camera is up here, and that is like the hardest thing to do with so much on your screen. And so maybe that would be the tip, is not to be distracted, right? When I'm meeting with a smaller group, I can reorient. Okay, really, really good tip. We got some questions here, which I'm excited about. This is, what are some unexpected hurdles or challenges that you have faced early on your business venture? And I know you have more than one business venture, so any pick from anyone.
Yeah, totally. So I think the easiest thing to do is build a product. And I know we think that that's not true. Virtual reality, I'm near and dear to the gaming world. Building a video game is super hard, but that's what I built a business around. But we couldn't build clients. And so I think one of the hardest things to do is realizing how important true sales are before, not even before, but like as you're developing your product, and keeping in mind like a strategy to continue to do sales. So the lady's doing the curly hair product, right? Like, how are you going to find more people with curly hair? It's not like that no one has that in their bio, so you have to kind of keep guessing at the market. So keep thinking about like, how are you going to find more people like my demographic easily, right? And so those are the things that I wish I would have done a little bit better early on. And then actually gone out and raised money sooner. So Get Seated is such a great platform, and it doesn't seem like $500 is a lot, but we've got companies, Infuse, Hydration, and Blinksy, who all started at $500, but they took that money, and as soon as they hit a milestone, they were out raising real capital. They didn't wait until like, oh, I'm gonna bootstrap this for a year. That's what I did, and that's what I messed up on. Because I got funded through Bench to Bedside, if you guys remember that. And I should have been raising capital the next day, and I waited way too long.
Okay, interesting. Another question. And I tried to move your face. Is it looking a little better?
No, you look great. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Is there one fatal flaw or mistake that you see most new entrepreneurs make when pitching? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, so the biggest one is they focus too much on the solution and not enough on the problem. You guys did a pretty good job here, I'm not gonna lie, but some of you guys can really even focus even more on the problem at hand. So for example, the endo one, what's the real problem of guiding in that thing? Yeah, it can get dirty and things like that, but remember you're selling to physicians. Like, what is their problem? Like, do they mess up? How often do they mess up? Do they admit that they mess up, which they won't do? But you got to keep that in mind, right? The physician's the one buying it. So they have to see that as a problem. And so I think like even though there is a problem in the world, making sure that it resonates to the person who's buying it.
Okay, very cool. So I think those are hard things to do though, right?
Very hard. It's funny, but once you do it, it makes the whole thing so much better. And a lot of times what I tell people who I'm coaching is, you know your solution, then reverse engineer the problem. And so you're like, well, it does A. Well, why does it need to do A? You know?
Yeah, thank you. And so these are all current students braving an unprecedented time, but still have a lot of resources available. What is one thing you did while you were in school that you're so grateful that you did take advantage of? Or what would you tell your past self now that you might do a little bit differently?
Okay, so I'm going to give two answers and they're going to be a little bit different. Hang out with Ann more. Those guys are great at Lassonde. Seriously, I was involved in everything. So I think that, I'm going to turn my light on. Is that better? Yeah. So I think that's a key element, is getting involved. Networking is huge. And so getting to know more and more people. I'm still connected with almost everybody I was connected with from Get Seated and the other programs that I did. So put yourself out there. And then the other thing is, you know, super focus on your business, but remember you need money first, right? So if it means, you know, side hustling the business for a little bit and then going getting a job, it's so much easier to have $50,000 in the bank of somebody else's money and fund your idea than to work at Sam's Club for nothing and have nothing. So it sounds silly, keep pursuing your idea, but if you need someone else's money to get started, it's easier to take a job and get paid to do that.
Yeah, that's one thing we actually talk a lot about at Lassonde, is that, you know, what we get to see is like the Tim Coolies is we love what you're doing now. And by the way, congratulations to all of the teams tonight. Round of applause from over here. It was a super tough round. There were 23 really sharp finalists and then whittled down to this group tonight. So congratulations to all of you for making it here. And to be clear, like those teams that you mentioned, Tim, like they didn't win all the time, you know, right? So like there were a lot of—
most of them didn't.
Most of them didn't. And so I have this really fun job, and you know, Tim's on this list, these lists too, of like watching. So we track these ideas that you have over time, but then we also track you as an individual over time. And what gets me excited is not just what you're doing right now, but what we cannot wait to see what you're doing in 5, 10, and 15 years, going through those phases of trying your own stuff, being a professional and working in industries you're interested in, right? That's not a failure for an entrepreneur. That's education, you know? Maybe tell me a little bit about some of the things that you're excited about that are coming across your desk as you're kind of sourcing deals all around.
Yeah, so we're working with some really cool companies. IoT is still really big. We have a company right now called Aquaseca that has a really interesting way of monitoring your pipes before they break, or if they break in a wall. That's pretty cool. A lot of drone companies out there trying to do some random stuff. There's one that got funded from Park City Angels recently called Skillstruck or Skill something. But they're in the ed tech space trying to teach coding to kids in, you know, middle school and in that time frame. I mean, there's so many cool companies that are, you know, battery companies. I don't know, I see a lot, but.
Cool. So we have one more question over here. I think I'm getting a note that they're just wrapping up the counts now. But with your day job of helping people get funding, and this is funny because I know you're in this whole space, are you representing the entrepreneurs or are you representing the angels?
Yes, I do both. So because I sit on both sides of the conversation, what I'm looking for, so for Park City Angels, we're mostly focused on Utah. About 80% of the deals we look at are Utah based. So if a Utah company comes across our table, I'm definitely coaching them up to win the thing. And keep in mind, unlike Get Seated, when you're pitching for real money, you don't get funded today. You go to the next meeting, which is called due diligence. And then maybe 5 more meetings later, you get funded. And so a lot of people don't realize that. And so that's kind of what we try and teach them is like, no, look, you're just trying to get to the next meeting. But then, yeah, so then my clients are all entrepreneurs. And so we get this really beautiful alignment when we get to be their advocates when we're reaching out to other investors.
Okay, great. And then do you have any more questions, students? You can go ahead and put them in the chat and we will unmute you. Or I can just read them to Tim. So, you know, I'm curious, like how has, you know, I think we all understand how pitching has changed a little bit over time. Like, we're looking at these very condensed timelines, 3 minutes, up to $1,500. It's an educational experience, right? It's a little bit different. But what does the first look really look like coming across your desk? Is it a pitch deck? How do you get a meeting, right?
Yeah, great question. So a couple things. Usually when you're doing outreach to people you don't know, it starts off with basically a paragraph. And it's got to be and this is what we specialize in. A paragraph that's so cool and exciting that the person has to learn more. So if you're doing that, you got to craft it in a way where they're like, that sounds interesting. I got to learn more about that. So if it makes it through that, so like I said before, if it's a Park City Angel introduction and they say blah, 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 Utah, that's the triggering word for me to take a meeting with them. Now, on the other side, if you know my background, so my background is in health, it's in gamification, games, anything in that world, if you send me an email, even if it's not Utah related, I'm going to take a meeting with it because I'm just interested. And so, again, keeping in mind who you're reaching out to, if you can craft the message because you know a little bit more about them and what their trigger words are, that's a good thing. And so that's step one. Usually what happens after that is you can either follow up with whatever questions they have, or you're going to send them either a one-pager or a pitch deck. And your guys' pitch decks are pretty good. You know, we could tweak them all day. But the reality is that pitch deck should read like a one-pager. So the person should be able to read it without any context and have an idea of what you're doing, but also still need a little bit more information from you. So that'll take that meeting. So it's kind of like playing this game of I'm going to give you just a teaser. I'm going to give you a little bit more information, but man, you have to talk to me. And so that's kind of how that progress goes.
Okay, so what are the things that people do to make you go, "Ooh, I'm not taking a meeting with that person right now"?
Oh man, if they send me a book, like if they send me 5 paragraphs, I promise I'm not reading it. It's too much. I don't have enough time to do that. If you're sending me all your info, and this is me personally, some other people don't think this way. But if you're sending me all the data, it's like you're trying too hard. Another thing that I really despise is when people try and get clever. Like, you know, oh, the sun is shining bright today, and then they do something weird. Like, just tell me what you need. Like, be very, like, you're wasting my time at that point. I don't like that stuff. Some other people might. I don't know. Yeah, just be honest. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'd love to set a meeting with you. And then I'd be like, hey, thanks, I'm not interested, or, oh, that sounds cool.
That's great. So does anybody else have any questions? Again, just go ahead and put them in the chat. Tim, do you have any questions for anybody here who pitched tonight, or any words of advice for student entrepreneurs weathering the pandemic?
Yeah, so if I can remember the companies, I'll just give some advice to all of you guys. Let's go down the list. So the beauty products was first. I think you guys are doing a great job. Keep going. Keep in mind that people buy what they see as they go. So you're selling a vision. I know curly hair is your market, but you got to sell a vision of curly hair. What was the next company?
Sorry about that. They're not in order on my screen, so I'll just call out names. Is that okay?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Virtual Swim.
Okay, so virtual swim, I love what you guys are doing. I don't think your market actually is in video games. This is my opinion. I do think there's actually a pretty cool rehabilitation method for what you guys are doing, especially in stroke rehabilitation. So I'd love to see you guys compete in bench to bedside if you're not doing that or planning on doing that. I think that feedback mechanism for range of motion would actually be really, really interesting in stroke patients in that kind of world.
Thank you, Tim.
Yep.
Here we go.
I also love video games, so I like where they're going.
I love that. Let's see. What about foam?
Okay, foam. So you guys have a really unique model that you're starting off with students. I'd like to see the data once you guys get this built up on how many people use it. I'm just like you guys. I hate doing laundry, and I think that would be a rad service. So yeah, keep pushing through. It'll be interesting to see where you guys go with this. It's a big marketing play, but if you kind of keep it and make it feel local, I think there's going to be a really awesome. It could work.
What about, what do you have for advice for alloy education?
Okay, so you're in a really difficult market. But what I like about what you guys are doing is that augmented reality kind of vision to it. I'd like to see what one looks like whenever you guys get a chance, so you can send me a demo or something. And then it would be interesting to pair with people who are like, so y'all use Instructure, you know, Devlin, who started it, is local. And so to get someone's feedback like from him on how you get into the market, not that you can't build the technology because the technology is cool, but how do you actually get an ed tech product to market would be a good conversation. And I know him, so if you want me, I can make an intro.
And I have Tim's email, so we can make it happen. Okay, you gave a little bit of information, but I'd love to hear what you have to say about Sport Ready Oxygen Backpack.
Okay, so I'm just like throw the cat out of the bag. This is my favorite idea of the ones tonight. I think that industry, it needed to be changed a long time ago. You know, I think the form factor of what people have to carry around sucks, and I've seen it. And so I do think that you guys have a pretty cool market opportunity. There's a couple groups here, Med Mountain Ventures, you might want to look into. And then David Bieber, I can make these intros too. He has a kind of an accelerator for products like yours, and he might be able to provide some resources. But I think the form factor, what you guys could do would actually change this market, but learn how to get it covered by insurance while you guys are building the product. So start that sales process now. And so, yeah, there you go.
That's great. Okay, Two Fairy.
Okay, so I really think we need to work on your value proposition. If you're the same cost as Uber, you need to be cheaper than the Uber 2-ride thing. I like the idea of the person coming back in their own car, and I think that resonates with a lot of people. But if you can be cheaper, then that's a much more valuable thing than, you know, the time it might save from, you know, oh, you can go to Target on your way home. You know, so I like where you're going with this, but I think really look at that price point because I think that'll be actually a bigger differentiator.
And then I think our last one, which we have maybe gotten just a little bit of feedback on, but maybe you have more, is EndoGrip.
Yeah, I think for you guys, obviously either physicians are going to buy it or not. It might come in a package. I'm not sure. Medical sales are their own world. But if you guys can really focus on those key elements that are actual problems for physicians, the ones that they're not going to tell you about, but they secretly know, then you'll have a really solid product. I didn't get to really see how it worked, but I think that there's clearly a need for it if you guys came up with it somehow.
Well, with that, can I get a thumbs up from our student co-directors? All right. Okay. Tim, I am so grateful for all of your contributions to our program. Thank you for being part of the original team. You know, it's students often that dream up these ideas and resources, and you've definitely been a part of that. Thanks for the years of coaching and mentoring. You know, you're on my list for this competition round coming up, and thanks for all the feedback for the students and joining us tonight. So with that, again, congratulations, student teams. I'll turn the time back over to our directors.
All right, we're back. Tim, thank you so much for that. That was amazing. I know who I'm going to reach out to when I start my next company. That was a wealth of information. We are working on sharing our screen. One sec. All right, before I announce the exciting news, here are important next dates to put down on your calendars. Applications for our next round of our Get Seated grant start tomorrow, and applications are due by March 1st at 11:59 p.m. If you're interested in finding more information about our events, future events, or anything Get Seated, please visit our webpage, which is at lassonde.utah.edu/getseated. And again, thank you to our donors, Chad and Kristen Anselmo and DoxyMe. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this amazing program and help out college students who are hoping to take their businesses off the ground and really make that next step in their company. All right, before I announce the results, I just want to say congrats to everyone who pitched tonight. You made it further than a lot of teams. We had a huge amount of applications this round, and they were all really competitive. So very proud of everyone who pitched. And for those who won, you get to stay on after we finish our YouTube live streaming and stay on to the Zoom afterwards. All right, in no specific order, our winners tonight are Virtual Swim, Sport Ready Oxygen Backpack, Foam, and Curl Up. Thank you again, everyone. Congrats to our winners. This is super awesome, very exciting. I'm excited for all of you. For those who didn't necessarily win this round, we expect to see you back again. And Get Seated is all about really learning and growing with your business, not just about the funds. Congrats again, and thank you for the excellent event, people.
Okay, just trying to get confirmation that we're not live streaming anymore. So give me just one moment.